In just 11 minutes, uncover the most explosive insights from Eliot Cohen and Eric Edelman's intense conversation with Larry Summers on the Bulwark, Shield of the Republic. From the shocking reason college is falling apart to the economic lie most people ignore, and how America's money game just got exposed, these 10 takeaways reveal the truth about inflation, anti-Semitism, and the collapse of credibility. Takeaway 1: universities are losing their purpose. Summers started the conversation with failure of American universities. He said that many schools have forgotten their main mission, which is the search for truth. Instead of encouraging open debate and critical thinking, universities are now focused on emotional comfort and victimhood. He warned that when people start using phrases like, "my truth," they are rejecting the idea of shared facts. He criticized faculty who tolerate radical activism and even reward it. Summers gave examples of administrators feeding students during illegal sit-ins and failing to discipline those who broke rules. He said this kind of leadership is weak and dangerous because it shows that the university does not stand for anything. For example, he recalled how a dean at Harvard once passed burritos through a window to students illegally occupying a central building instead of asking them to leave. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 2: faculty leadership has become spineless. Summers argued that university leaders today lack the courage to uphold academic standards. He explained that while professors are allowed to express any opinion, university leaders are responsible for maintaining a respectful and serious environment. Yet when a professor gives a speech comparing the founding of Israel to the Holocaust and nobody says anything, it sends a terrible message. Summers said that faculty governance has become too focused on internal comfort and not enough on the school's mission. He also said that complete job security and internal politics have made universities slow to act, even in the face of serious problems. For example, he noted that some faculty members even refuse to reverse minor punishments against students who repeatedly break the rules, making the whole system look weak and biased. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 3: anti-Semitism is out of control on campuses. Summers was blunt in his criticism of how universities like Harvard have handled anti-Semitism. He called the recent report on anti-Semitism harrowing and said it exposed a culture that tolerates harassment and discrimination. He believes that universities have become obsessed with competing victimhood instead of protecting their students. He also criticized Harvard for releasing a report on Islamophobia alongside the anti-Semitism report, saying it diluted the issue. Summers said that calling for the elimination of a sovereign state or glorifying terrorism is not just free speech. It is a threat to civil society. He argued that when hate speech is allowed in the name of equality, real equality suffers. For example, he mentioned that some university officials made no public statement condemning terror attacks like the one on October 7th, which made many Jewish students feel abandoned. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 4: leftist ideologies dominate university culture. Summers explained that universities are not balanced environments. He said that people who don't believe in capitalism have fewer career choices, and universities become a natural home for their beliefs. He also pointed out that administrative staff are usually even more ideological than faculty. These people often make decisions behind the scenes that shape the culture of the entire campus. Summers warned that this creates a self-reinforcing system, where the same beliefs get recycled and any dissent is pushed out. He said universities are no longer places for real debate. They are becoming echo chambers. For example, someone who supports Israel or traditional economics may feel completely out of place in faculty meetings or university workshops, no matter how qualified they are. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 5: conservatives need to avoid overreach. Summers did not just criticize the left. He also warned conservatives not to destroy universities in the name of reform. He called Trump's threat to pull funding from schools vandalism and said it violates basic American legal principles. Summers argued that if someone commits a crime, they still deserve due process before punishment, and the same principle applies to institutions. He also rejected the idea of affirmative action for conservatives, saying that trying to fix political bias with more bias will only make things worse. He urged both sides to act with caution and maturity. For example, he mentioned that while Christopher Rufo talks about fighting liberal bias, his approach ignores the conservative idea that radical change often causes more harm than good. We're halfway through the video. Thanks for sticking with us. If you're enjoying it, hit the thumbs up and share it in your WhatsApp groups. If you'd like to support us, please tap the thanks button below. It helps us keep making great content. Drop a comment and don't forget to hit subscribe for more. Now let's continue with the video. Takeaway 6. Universities must serve the nation again. In this part of the podcast, Summers and Cohen talked about how universities used to play a central role in American public life. Leaders like James Conant or Henry Kissinger were not just scholars, they helped guide the country. But today, universities have retreated into their own world. Summers said this is partly a good thing because it keeps them focused on education. However, he also said that university leaders must speak up when core values are under attack. He mentioned a historic speech given the day after Hitler invaded Poland, where a Harvard president called on the school to defend liberty. Summers said Harvard and other schools failed to show that kind of leadership after the terror attacks in October 2023. For example, he argued that if university leaders had clearly condemned those attacks, they would have sent a message that education stands for truth and justice, not moral confusion. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 7. Why inflation destroyed Democrat credibility. Larry Summers explained how the Biden administration failed to listen to economic warnings about inflation in 2021. Despite clear signs that too much stimulus would lead to rising prices, the administration ignored what he called basic arithmetic. Summers warned that the economy was already overflowing with stimulus money from COVID relief, and adding more would trigger inflation. He said that politicians feared being blamed for doing too little, so they overcompensated. As a result, inflation affected every American, not just a small group. This widespread impact helped tilt the 2024 election. Summers pointed out that inflation is different from unemployment because everyone feels the pain when prices rise, but only a small group feels unemployment. He added that this was the third time in his life when high inflation destroyed a progressive political movement, referencing the elections of 1968, 1980, and now 2024. For example, Summers noted that if inflation had been controlled, the 2024 election likely would have had a very different outcome, suggesting it could have helped Democrats retain power. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 8. Democrats lost touch with economic reality. Summers criticized Democratic leaders and economists for gaslighting Americans about inflation. He said there was a sense that elites were denying what people could feel every day in their wallets. Even when the official inflation numbers started to drop in 2024, people still felt poor because everything cost more than it did 2 years ago. He explained that this is because the cost of living is not just about monthly changes. It includes lingering effects from previous years. On top of that, rising interest rates meant that mortgage payments and car loans became more expensive. But those costs are not included in the way the government measures inflation. He said people actually judge the cost of living, not just what economists write in reports. For example, someone who bought a home in 2021 might have paid a 3% interest rate, but someone buying in 2024 might be paying 7%. That extra monthly payment feels like inflation, even if the official stats say prices are steady. Now let's move to the next takeaway. Takeaway 9. Trump's economic plans could crash markets. Summers warned that Trump's proposed economic policies are dangerously irrational. He said Trump plans to massively raise tariffs, far beyond even what he did during his first term. The new plan would push tariffs to levels higher than during the Smoot-Hawley era of the Great Depression. Summers explained that this would raise prices, hurt businesses that rely on materials like steel, and make American industries less competitive. He pointed out that 60 times more people work in industries that use steel than in the steel industry itself. So jacking up steel prices actually kills more jobs than it saves. He also noted that markets are reacting badly, with falling stock prices, rising bond yields, and a weakening dollar, all signs that investors are losing faith in the U.S. economy. For example, if you build cars and steel prices jump due to tariffs, your car prices go up, your sales go down, and eventually you might shut down a factory. Now let's move to the last takeaway. Takeaway 10. America is burning its economic credibility. Summers used a powerful metaphor to explain the damage to America's financial reputation. He said, Credibility once lost takes a long time to recover. It's like a forest that takes 30 years to grow and 30 minutes to burn down. He warned that when a country acts like a chaotic emerging market, where stocks, bonds, and currency all fall together, it scares investors and damages long-term stability. He believes the U.S. is starting to look like that kind of country. While Summers still hopes American institutions will hold firm, he said if the country continues down this road, it could lead to a serious recession. The damage to the dollar's role as the world's reserve currency could also be long-lasting. For example, countries like Argentina have collapsed and returned to global markets multiple times in the last 50 years, but each time they came back weaker and more dependent. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support this channel, hit the thanks button below. It really helps us keep going. If you enjoyed this summary, please leave a like and share it in your WhatsApp groups. To join discussion about this video, drop a comment below. And for more videos like this, hit the subscribe button below.